Hey guys, welcome to today's video. We're going to be discussing and breaking down the Browns vs. Chiefs divisional round game. We're going to be breaking it down, looking at it, analyzing it, taking some things away from it. And with that said, before we get started, please drop a like and a sub on today's video. It would really help my channel grow. I'd really appreciate it. And with that said, let's dive right into it, and I hope you enjoy. Wow, what a game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Huge win for them, and we're going to break this all down. But, I mean, congrats to them. They're going to be going back to the AFC Championship game. They're going to be playing the Buffalo Bills at home next week, and that's going to be fantastic. But let's start breaking this game down. It all starts with Mahomes, and obviously concussion, okay? Big injury question. Is he going to be okay next week? I mean, he took a pretty big hit, and he just went to the ground awkwardly, and as soon as he got up, you could just tell that something was wrong. That's huge. Obviously, franchise quarterback, he's the leader of this team. But what I saw from Chad Henne in replacement for Mahomes was he looked cool, calm, and collected. And other than that interception, right? Other than that interception in that fourth quarter that didn't end up biting the Chiefs in the butt. But overall, I mean, he looked cool, he looked calm, he looked collected on that last drive there, trying to pick up that first down. He was able to scramble outside the pocket, make that nice little throw to Tyreek Hill to secure the game winner. And overall, that is what he did. And I think he did a very good job. I just really liked what I saw from him overall. And at the end of the day, I mean, he did a fantastic job replacing a guy like Patrick Mahomes, who's really hard to replace. I thought Chad Henne did a good job there. Andy Reid, though, he's 26-5 now, coming off a career after a bye. Obviously, they had the bye, and that includes the playoffs too. And sorry, my friend's trying to call me. He's crazy about the NFL and the Chiefs, and he's just trying to call me. But I'm trying to get this video done. So he just texted me the Browns. Okay. Anyway, so let's get back to this here. Sorry. And of course, quarterbacks drafted number 1 overall are 1-5 against Andy Reid in the postseason. So obviously, a lot going into this game. Andy Reid had the upper hand. He had the edge, and also the defense is really what got the Chiefs the win at the end of the day. They really tightened it up. Chris Jones did a fantastic job down the stretch for the Kansas City Chiefs. And at the end of the day, I mean, he did a great job overall. Chris Jones, I love what I saw from him on the defense. But overall, I mean, this defense was feisty, was aggressive. They're going to need to keep that up in next week. But offensively, I mean, with no Clyde Edwards-Helaire and no Sammy Watkins, they were able to get the job done. They got the job done. I mean, Mahomes still threw for 255 yards and a touchdown, added a touchdown on the ground, and his ability to run, as well as his ability to use his arm and be accurate with his arm, really allowed for this Chiefs team to be successful in that first half. I mean, if you just look at their first 20 plays, they had 11 first downs, and they were efficient. The Browns were not able to stop them whatsoever, and it really was because they were able to run the ball very well early in the game, and then use Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce out of that to be very successful down the stretch. And then defensively, I mean, we talked about Chris Jones, but I mean, we got to talk about that big hit that Daniel Sorensen had on Rashard Higgins, knocked the ball loose, and of course, caused a touchback. And of course, Chiefs fans are going to be like, of course, that was a great play. That's a great rule. There's definitely going to be some controversy over that. But I mean, to be honest, I mean, Sorensen led with his helmet in that situation. You know, that should probably be able to be reviewed too. I agree that the touchback rule is a little bit harsh. Maybe give the ball back to the team that lost it in that scenario. But overall, I loved. I mean, that play was just quintessential NFL playoffs. I mean, that's what happens in the NFL playoffs. Plays like that determine football games. And if the Browns had scored there, I think that they could have ended up winning the game, especially if Mahomes had still gone down in that second half. But overall, I mean, this Chiefs team really banded together at the end of this game. The defense got the job done. Chad Henne came in, did what he had to do. And then the only knock on the Chiefs, I think, was that they kind of allowed Baker Mayfield to get back into this game in that second half after Butker missed that field goal in the second half. And Butker missing field goals, that's a huge thing. I mean, he's one of the NFL's best kickers. I'd put him in my top 5 kickers, if not top 3, top 2, maybe even the best kicker in the NFL. One of the better legs in the National Football League. And he missed a field goal, he missed an extra point, both from 33 yards. So that's going to need to be cleaned up. And going into next week, it's all about, can you get Mahomes back? I mean, I don't know how long concussions take. I don't know the severity of the concussion. There's definitely a concussion protocol that he's going to have to go through. But at the end of the day, I mean, can you get Mahomes back? And you got to keep up the offensive success. You got to work on getting more sacks and more pressure. And you got to make sure that Butker can be better, right? Butker's got to make those field goals, not really allow the Bills to get back in games like the Browns were able to get back in this game today. And then for the Cleveland Browns, what a fantastic season it was. I mean, Kevin Stefanski got back in today's game. The Browns were healthy, and I think Kevin Stefanski is probably going to win NFL Coach of the Year. I mean, this was a bad Browns team last year. He ended up guiding them to a playoff spot, to a playoff win, although he wasn't necessarily coaching that. But he got them to the divisional round of the playoffs, where he put up a great fight against the best team in the NFL. I mean, Baker Mayfield looked fantastic. If there's any questions about him being the Browns' future quarterback, those are all answered now. I mean, Baker's the future, and he was slinging the ball in the first half. But other than that interception in the third quarter, which was a little bit ugly, trying to force the ball, trying to do something, at the end of the day, he was good, really good, finding Rashard Higgins, finding Jarvis Landry, Austin Hooper, David Njoku had a big game. And I mean, the Browns played a good first half, other than, that last bit of that second quarter. Defensively, obviously, they really struggled to stop the Chiefs. But on offense, I mean, if they had scored a touchdown on that last play of the second quarter there, where Daniel Sorensen had that big hit, Rashard Higgins fumbled in the back of the end zone, I mean, this game could have turned out differently. And I mean, Chubb dropped the ball like 3 times in the first half. Kareem Hunt wasn't there in the first half. The offense looked good, though, because Mayfield looked like he was throwing the ball really well to guys like Njoku and Landry, and his receivers and Higgins too. Had a really nice throw to Donovan Peoples-Jones. But, I mean, the defense was too conservative. And when you're playing Patrick Mahomes, we saw this in the Super Bowl last year. If you're playing a lot of zone defense like the Cleveland Browns typically like to do, you've got to be aggressive. You got to get to the quarterback. And although the Browns did do that at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, they were not doing that in the first half. And if you want to play like San Francisco did in the Super Bowl last year against Mahomes and the Chiefs, you've got to play zone defense. And the Browns did do that, but you got to get pressure on the quarterback. And, I mean, although Myles Garrett was good, he got banged up in today's game, and there just wasn't enough pressure to contain that Chiefs offense. So at the end of the day, I mean, I love what I saw from the Browns this year. It was a great run. And you just got to, moving into next season, will OBJ be there? I mean, that's a huge question mark. But to be honest, I think it's all about adding to the defense, adding more playmakers in the secondary, in the linebacking core, even up front, just adding more bodies and more playmakers on defense. This offense is one of the best in the NFL with great running backs, great guys up front, really the best offensive line in the NFL, in my opinion. Baker Mayfield looks like he's got it. I mean, Landry's obviously a great receiver. I liked what I saw from Rashard Higgins this year. I liked what I saw from Austin Hooper. Donovan Peoples-Jones was there. I mean, OBJ, big question mark. Maybe you add another wide receiver in the offseason if OBJ ends up forcing his way out of Cleveland. But, I mean, overall, this was a good season for the Cleveland Browns. It's just, it's a shame it comes down like this. They really had a chance in this game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and you don't typically get a chance against the defending Super Bowl champs. Obviously, big thing for the Kansas City Chiefs. Huge win for them. Andy Reid continuing to be really successful in the playoffs, really leading this Kansas City Chiefs team to the future and forward. And overall, I mean, big win for them. It's just, can you get Mahomes next week? Can you get him back next week? Clearing concussion protocol. That'll be interesting to see, especially against a very good team in the Bills. And that's pretty much going to end the video for today. Did you agree with my analysis? Why or why not? What were your takeaways from today's game? And with that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please drop a like and a sub. I'd really appreciate that. It would help my channel grow. And until next time, see ya.